come early because I couldn't find a place to park last year. So that's it for me. Board members have anything for the agenda that we need to add? I'm gonna add a recognition for the track and baseball athletes if they're here. That's his presentations and reports. Mr. Cully, you have something to add?
Mr. Sheba would like to add a matter that he considers an emergency at the animal shelter for emergency repairs.
All right, can I make that new business?
New business, yes, sir, late.
All right, 9A, animal shelter. Mr. Height is here. I know he has a personnel salary issue that he wants to address. Should we make that, Mr. Cully, is that a personnel matter or is that a new business matter?
We have personnel on the agenda. I think we'll just add it in there.
Personnel? Okay. So we will add, personnel will cover all those things, right, Mr. McKenzie? Okay. Yeah, as long as we say personnel, we can discuss things that are personnel, different personnel items, so we're okay. All right, we will add that as part of personnel. Any other amendments to the agenda? If not, we'll take a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved,
Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All right, motion made by Mr. Underwood, second by Mr. Seeley. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The motion carries unanimously. Let's do recognition of the track athletes first. So, ladies and gentlemen from the track team, if you would come forward to the podium, please. Tell us your name and your event, because I know quite a few of you went to the state. Don't be shy. And we are so proud of you, so we want you to state your name loudly and clearly and tell us what event you ran or what you participated in.
I'm Olivia Powers, and I ran the 4x1.
4x1?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm Audrey Edwards, and I ran the 4x4.
Ooh.
I'm Gracelyn Edwards, and I also ran the 4x4.
Kayla Vini, and I did the 100 hurdles, 300 hurdles, and the 4x1.
Wow. 100 hurdles, 300 hurdles? Oh my gosh.
I'm Tavari Terrell, and I did high jump and 4x4.
High jump and 4x4.
Mm-hmm.
4x400 relay.
Yep.
Okay. My track coach used to say if you could run the quarter and you ran 4x400, that was a mix between a sprinter and a distance runner, and it was the hardest thing in the world. So congratulations to you guys.
Mr. Thomas.
Yes, sir.
Regarding that, I ran the 400 when I was in high school, and a very senior coach talked to me and said, here's your advice, first 400 you run. The first half, you run as fast as you possibly can. In the second half, you speed up.
Well, we were joking before the meeting about track. My cousin, Larry James, ran the 400 and won a gold medal in the 1968 Olympics. Unfortunately, I did not get those genes. So it's really great to have you guys. I think we want to, if you can come up, we want to take a picture with you. Coach Harvey's here. Coach. Mm-hmm. I was going to make Coach Harvey come up for the picture. Now, Coach Harvey probably coached your parents because he has been here for quite some time, and we owe him a lot of credit for Caroline's success. Coach, come on, we want you to say a few words. I'm not running laps, so just get that out of your head.
I thank the Board of Supervisors for inviting us. It means a lot to my athletes. The two over my left, they are freshmen. The other young lady, sophomores. Well, she's a junior now, and two seniors will be coming back. We should be doing a better job next year, hopefully, if no one gets big heads and things of that nature. But I appreciate what the county does for us and allowing me to have an opportunity to coach these athletes.
Coach, thank you. Coach, if you and your athletes can come upstage, we'd like to take a couple of pictures with you so we can be, associated with famous people. Casey?
We do this every time.
Yeah, they switched the flag, so we'll do state. They were all in the states. No, you guys are in the front. You guys are in the front. We'll line up in the back behind you. Yeah, come back a little bit. You can smile. Yeah, let's go a little bit further down.
This way a little bit.
Coach, you're gonna be in the front too. I don't know about how like that. It's the purple. Wizard of Oz. Where's Casey? Oh, she's over here.
That way, then you come this way a little bit.
Yeah, I gotta have a little more. There's a lot of you. Mr. Underwood, I can't see you. You wanna? There you go. Perfect. All right. 1, 2, 3. One more. Awesome. Gotcha.
Coach, again, thanks for your work.
Hey, nice to meet you. Hey, good to see you, Mr. Flag. And well, that's good. Yeah. Pretty good track seasons. Good. It's nice to see you. Good for you. It's good to see you. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. And I understand the baseball team will be available for our August meeting. Again, ladies and gentlemen from the track team, thanks for coming. We appreciate you coming. Feel free to stay. You don't have to stay if you don't want to. I know you've got other summer activities to do, but it's definitely a pleasure to have you folks here. Our next agenda item is the recognition of the planning director, Mr. Mike Fincham, upon his retirement. Did we accept his retirement, Mr. Colley? Oh, he jumped up and said, for those listening, he jumped up and said yes 6 months ago. And Mr. Underwood said, so why are we still paying him? But Mr. Fincham has been here for over 30 years, 31 years. So we have a small token of our appreciation, which is a resolution from the board commending Mr. Fincham on his retirement. It starts with, whereas Mr. Fincham will retire at the end of June after 31 years of service as the Caroline County Planning Director and Community Development, whereas Mr. Fincham has been at the forefront of helping to guide Caroline through decades of tremendous growth, progress, development that has changed the face of the county. With his help, this growth has enabled Caroline to gain population, increase retail and business development, expand employment opportunities, and generate new tax revenue without losing its rural character and charm. And whereas among his many accomplishments, he helped steer the county through the early stages of growth, following the creation of the first public water and wastewater system, the development of the county's 2 I-95 interchanges at Carmel Church and Ladysmith, the creation of the largest residential subdivisions, including Haymount, Belmont, Ladysmith Village, and Pendleton, multiple versions of the Caroline County Comprehensive Plan, the development of sub-area plans, multiple voter redistricting processes, staff reductions, and most recently guiding the county through development of new solar power generation facility ordinance and solar-related rezoning and special exceptions. And whereas his loyalty, integrity, extensive knowledge of the planning profession, and ability to effectively guide the Board of Supervisors and county citizens through the complicated and often controversial zoning issues with poise and composure has been a tremendous asset to Caroline County and is very difficult to replace. And whereas Mr. Fincham is a true gentleman and friend whose good nature, easygoing manner, and sense of humor will sorely be missed by all of those who worked with him, now therefore be it resolved that the Caroline County Board of Supervisors hereby expresses its sincere gratitude and appreciation to Mr. Fincham for his steadfast public service and commitment to Caroline County. Be it further resolved that the board offers its very best wishes to Mr. Fincham and his family for a very enjoyable retirement. Mr. Fincham, thank you very much. You have to come get it. We would like you to come up forward so we can take a picture of you, and you can make, if you'd like from the podium, if you'd like to make any last public comment, that would be great.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I just want to thank you all. It's been an honor and a pleasure working in Caroline all these years. I consider Caroline my home, and I've tried to keep that in the back of my mind in any decisions or discussions that I've had with the board. I'm not going to thank anybody individually. I just want to thank all the departments and agencies that I've worked with, the Planning Commission and the members, and members of the bodies, both current and past. I appreciate everything, and I look forward to my retirement, and I will promise I'll stay out of your hair. You can blame everything on me.
Thank you. Yeah. Yes. You want to go back to 100? All right, come here, Mike. This time I get to be in front. Spot to play. And Nancy, you can be right.
All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. One more. Awesome.
All right. No. We do have a couple of planning items. We're going to make Mr. Fincham work until the very last moment. Yeah. And Mr. Fincham, again, thank you for your service, and we do appreciate all you've done. Especially one thing that should be noted, and he did kind of joke about it, but he said he'd given us his retirement notice 6 months ago. We did understand that, and we appreciate Mr. Fincham staying along so that our new planning director, Mr. Leon Hughes, had an opportunity to learn from Mr. Fincham and kind of absorb a little bit of his knowledge and background and history as we move forward. And I think that's a great thing that all employees, county, private sector can really understand. There's a great deal of intellectual property that each employee has, and it's really important to pass that along so the county can really continue to progress. So Again, Mr. Fincham, we thank you. And we are going to move to the third quarter budget report. Mrs. Smith, Ms. Smith, the finance director, will give us an update on the budget report. And as she comes forward, just so people will understand, the budget report she gave last month was an interim report, and now we get to the third quarter. The county only has collections in December and June, so some of the things we saw at the last report are totally different for this report. Ms. Smith?
Absolutely. Good evening, Chairman Thomas and members of the board. Tonight, I will provide a fiscal year 23 third quarter financial status report for the county. This report is, as Chairman Thomas said, unaudited and is on a modified accrual basis except for the utilities funds, which are on a full accrual basis. And this most accurately reflects revenues and expenditures as they are shown in our annual comprehensive financial report. The summaries provided in the board package show that 67.8% of budgeted revenues for the major funds have been collected and 68.7% of budget expenditures have been spent. For the quarter ending March 31st, 2023, general fund revenues collected were $37,733,386, or 61.5% of budget estimates. Property tax collections are at 57.7%, with an estimate of $18,225,066 left to be collected, and that's of the budget amount. Business license collections remain steady, decreasing only 0.4% in comparison to last year. Interest income, which is a big one, collected as of the third quarter is about $936,000 currently. Overall, the general fund expenditures at March 31st are 61% of the estimated budget, with expenditures of $37,796,917. As Chairman Thomas stated, at the end of the third quarter for fiscal year 2023, the unadjusted change in the general fund balance would be a negative $63,531. And that is before we make the remaining budgeted transfers out to other funds, which are budgeted at $13 million. Total revenues posted for Caroline County Public Schools are at 61.8% of the budget, while the total expenditures were 57.9%. So at the end of the third quarter, school revenues exceeded their expenditures by about $2.7 million. Social services revenues are at 62.4% of budgeted revenues, and expenditures for the year at 72.2%. The budgeted transfer from general fund is at $667,246. However, at this point, only $322,572 would be needed to balance. The Children's Services Act revenues were 61.3% of the budget, and expenditures were 54.6% for the first half of the year. The Debt Retirement Fund has revenues of $3,915,691. That transfer that I discussed last quarter has been made for the semi-annual transfer for property taxes. $1,265,677 has been collected in meals tax revenue, and that represents a 12.7% increase from last year, and is about 103% of the budget. So it is exceeding the budget with 1 quarter remaining. Debt service payments have been made in the amount of $9,063,978. So that gap would be made. That gap would be covered by a general fund transfer, but of course that is budgeted already. Operating revenues for the Caroline Utility Fund are at 98.3% of the budget, with $2,955,593. Availability fee revenues were at 108.2% of the budget, with $2,963,464. Operating expenses for Caroline Utility Fund are 64.3% of the budget. Of course, the utility fund debt service payments have been made, and they are equating to 77.9%. We do have some June 1 payments that will fall in the last quarter. Total revenues of $6,500,000 $64,569 exceeded the expenditures of $6,010,993, generating a net income of $553,576 for the third quarter. And there was a $1.4 million transfer from general fund, but we won't have to make that if that net income continues. Of course, this is due to the influx of operating income and investment income. As of the third quarter, we had collected $645,512 from our investment income, and that would be the interest on that large borrowing that we did. The Don Wastewater Fund has operating revenues of 87.1% of the budget. Operating expenses are at 179% of the budget. This was a question that Mr. Forehand raised on the last quarter report. And an explanation of the costs that were overrun has been provided by Mr. Schiebel. It relates to the necessary repairs and maintenance of the aging pump and utility system. The total revenues have been $69,910, and the total expenditures have been $313,363. So there is a third quarter loss of $243,453. The budgeted transfer from general fund was $295,226. So we will need to make that complete transfer. In conclusion, during the fiscal quarter ending March 31st, 2023, Caroline County's collection of revenues for the major funds at third quarter do not exceed expenditures at that same time frame. During fiscal year, the adopted budget, we had a transfer from our fund balance of $1,278,311. However, at this time, because we do have the June 5th collections that would need to be posted, we still don't anticipate utilizing that transfer from the fund balance, but I just wanted to note that that was there. Also, I will provide the May 2023 budget status report. This is provided by the schools, and they did present this at the school board meeting last night. The total school appropriation was $68,827,600. As of the end of May, 75.08% of revenue has been collected, for $51,672,526, and 76.84%, or $52,884,32, has been spent. So at this point last year, revenues were $3,015,524 less, and expenditures are currently up $8,301,932 over last year at this point. The current fiscal year total school fund budget is up $5,817,426 above last year's budget. This concludes the fiscal year 23 third quarter report.
Thank you, Ms. Smith, and I want to thank School Board Chair Sean Kelly, who sent me the school financial report, which I then forward to the Finance Director. Board members have any questions of Ms. Smith at this time?
I just have,
Mr. Black?
I just have one on the Proffers Fund. It says like percent collected, and it's like 1,000%.
Yes.
What's that from, or?
So the Proffers Fund, we typically budget about $55,000, but we still have collections from Mr. Fincham. Which subdivision is that? Pendleton? Oh. Pendleton, Ladysmith Village, all active subdivisions. So while we are only budgeting $55,000, we are receiving much more in that.
All of those subdivisions came before changes to the proffer laws.
Mm-hmm.
So in each house in those subdivisions, there was a dollar amount associated that goes to the county for proffers for improvements in that particular area. So I don't think any new subdivisions
have
anything like that.
That just seems to be a lot of,
So while we
lot
have
over.
budgeted $50,000, we have collected 563,000.
Right. Is that typical of, Mr. Cully, is that typical of a year? I mean, do we normally budget?
No, we don't normally have that much. We normally don't. The proper fund's just a sort of, think of it as a sinking fund. We don't have any expenses in the proper fund unless we bring you a project. So that just builds up. So we just budget 55 and budget 55,000 versus expenditures every year. We don't really change it. It's just one of those things we call other funds within. It's not in the general fund. So we don't spend a lot of time trying to figure out how many propers are we going to collect, because it is what it is.
Yeah, sure.
And so that's way over or would be under the 55. It's not spent unless the board directs us to spend it on a project.
Yeah, the reason why I was curious is because we had quite a boom last couple of years.
That's what last couple of years, but I didn't raise it. The 55 has been the same, probably, it may have been 30 when it was real slow back when I got here.
Right.
And we raised it some.
There was a
but
time
it's
we
not
didn't
like,
have anything.
Right. But it's not like we said, oh, well, proffers are going to be 150,000 and we got this project we're putting in the budget to match it.
Well, just out of curiosity, what is the total amount in that account now? Do you know?
She does, but I don't think she has that with her.
I do not have that. However, I can get that amount for you.
Oh, yeah.
I want to say it's about 1.5 million, but
Oh, wow. Okay.
But it's one-time money also.
Yeah, right.
It is one-time money.
For various things that the proppers.
For projects, usually projects in that area.
Related to those neighborhoods, correct.
Because there were some proffers for Belmont, I know particular, but they had to be used in that area to benefit the subdivision.
Well, I mean, we had talked about we can talk offline, but there's area around the Lewis and Clark Elementary that is really bad as far as the entrance exit for buses and so forth. The road is terrible. So anyway, all right, thank you.
And Mr. Black, I will add, we do have several years ago there was an equation that was utilized to separate the balance. And so there is a breakdown of that balance, what pot of money it is. So I will get that to you guys.
I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Underwood has a question.
Ms. Smith, you mentioned that we had the 1.2 available for transfer that we had taken out of the general fund last year, right?
That is what is budgeted to take out of the fund balance.
You say we will probably not need that, correct?
I do not anticipate that.
Right, so that will then go back into the general fund?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Stay there.
Yeah.
And that's, for those who don't know, I think the board knows, and of course, Ms. Smith knows, the budget balancing number is the unencumbered balance.
Right.
And Mr. Cully is usually very conservative with that number. And this looks like a good year, so we will not take money out of the fund balance, which would be great because that's the goal.
Right.
So the more business and things we can get in to generate revenue, the less we take out of the fund balance, and it would be nice to add to the fund balance. So
absolutely.
It looks like this is an add to the fund balance year.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you again. Yes, well, the big key is we knew the second quarter report would look really good because it comes on the heels of the December tax payment. So having done that, now we know that we've gone a whole quarter without any revenue.
Right.
So that's what makes a difference, and things even up. So the folks that got excited, including us, when we saw $6 million, now have their expectations set more realistically and know it's even.
Yes.
All right, Ms. Smith, again, an excellent report. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next order of business is appointments. Board members have any appointments for the Recreation Advisory Committee? We can make those now, or they actually expire. We can, based on the attendance sheets we have, we can continue those. So, anyone like to make an appointment?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'd like to reappoint Charles Garnett to the Port Royal District.
Can we just make a motion to reappoint the ones that said that we're going to be reappointed rather than do them individually on this list? Rather than go one by one, can we just do all of them at one time that wanted to be reappointed?
But I don't know which ones will be.
We can. The ones at the top.
Says
we have a list here. The ones at the top want to be reappointed. Some of those. All right, Mr. Black, if you would like to make a motion that includes Charles Garnett to the others that want to be reappointed, we can do so. If there's anybody else who has one that wants to be reappointed,
Yeah, I'll move that we approve Jamie Schuman, Kathy LaRocco, Mary Boone, and Charles Garnett to the Recreation Advisory Committee.
is there a second to that motion?
Second.
All right, motion's made by Mr. Black, seconded by Mr. Seeley and Ms. Long to appoint those that were willing to be reappointed. We will bring the others to our August meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. So that motion carries unanimously. We will move to the Rappahannock Area Community Services Board of Directors appointment. And do we have anybody?
I believe this one's going to take some work.
Yeah, because Ms. Carter can't serve anymore, I think.
Right, and she was in your district, just so you know.
Mhm.
And we're going to have to look for somebody.
Would it help to have Mr. Cully or someone say what the responsibilities and the duties are for people who do watch, that they might be interested to contact us?
Mr. Parton, would you, I hate to throw you on the spotlight, would you or Mr. Cully be able to take care of that? Mr. Cully, can you handle that?
You would serve as our representative on a regional board, and with that, with the CSB, it was a CSB, Rappahannock CSB.
Community Services Board.
Right, CSB. And so they work in the region, you know, provide mental health services, substance abuse services. They run some housing things for folks and treatment. And so you serve, they have an executive director, which you would think of as the county administrator, that has all the employees in this board, which this person would serve as our county representative on the board. And I think we have 3, and they meet, I would assume, I don't know how often, but probably monthly meetings up in Fredericksburg at their headquarters building, and go over the items that they have, that they work for. Having never been on a board, I just kind of have a very overview of what they do. But think of running the county, those folks are running those services and oversee the executive director.
Mr. Thomas.
Yes, sir.
Question for the board and for Mr. Kelly. Would a current employee of the Community Services Board, would it be appropriate then to serve in that role?
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah.
It'd be like a county employee being a board of supervisors.
Okay.
Yeah, and this is the building across from the high school. Right?
They do that locally, yes. They have that's one of their outpatient services. They run so many, from mental health to all the way through to substance abuse. There are various parts of that that they operate under state guidelines too. And they have plans they have to adopt, and then they bring forward to us to kind of their work plan every so often, and we bless it here locally. But it's a regional, so it would be other counties, their citizens there too.
Yeah, and we get 3 representatives. Her term expires in June. They have several. Yeah, well, would have expired in June 24. But she's resigned, so we need to find someone to fill her unexpired term.
And usually it's somebody that has an interest in one of those broad things that they deal with. You know, the people that have served from us in the past have had relatives or various people that have received services and understand those type of services that they administer.
This is where
I was just going to say that. Would you touch base with Mr. Collins to see if he could give us a year while we look for somebody? I know he said he was retiring, but
I'll gladly do that. But he may actually have an idea of somebody else in the community as well.
He may have a recommendation.
Yeah, that's okay. More likely to be what he'll be able to do.
If you could do that, it'd be a great help.
We can work on that.
And of course, anybody that's in the auditorium or sees this on YouTube, if you are interested, if you have a heart for this kind of service, contact your supervisor or contact Mr. Cully.
Call the county administration office.
Reach out, email us, whatever. We'll certainly pass that along.
633-5380.
Correct.
All right. We will pass that on until our August meeting. Moving to the consent agenda, anyone like anything to take off the consent agenda, or is there a motion to adopt it as is?
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a second? Motion is made by Mr. Seeley, seconded by Mrs. Long to adopt the consent agenda as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries unanimously. No, I believe we are going to have a fairly long closed meeting. So let's try to address the personnel part of our closed meeting first. And we'll go into closed meeting and just come back at 7:30. That gives us about half an hour to take care of those things.
So we'll do the whole, and then we'll go in and come back.
No, just do the personnel part.
So
And then we'll come back
number
again.
3 on this. Okay.
Yes.
I will do that. I move that this board convene in closed meeting pursuant to the personnel exemption, section 2.2-3711A1 of the Code of Virginia, to discuss personnel matters relating to the compensation of certain employees. Period.
Just to make sure, do the first one too. Discussion of a public contract involving expenditure of public funds. So we're going to go into public. We're going to go into closed meeting on 2.23711A29 and 2.23711A1.
So you want to
Those
do a
items.
contract exemption of
Yes.
2.23711A29 of the Code of Virginia to discuss terms and scope of a contract for demolition work in the Reedy Church District, where discussion in open session would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the board.
Thank you. Is there a second to that motion? Motion's made by Mr. Seeley, second by Mr. Black. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The motion carries unanimously. We're going to try to cover those 2 items and then come back and do the other 2 at the end of the meeting. We've got 2 just in case we finished the first one early. All right, we should be back hopefully at 7:30 or close to it. We stand in closed meeting. He's gonna catch up. The board will reconvene the June 13th meeting. I'm gonna offer my apologies for our lateness. We had a intense discussion. I thought we could finish in a few minutes and it took a lot longer. So we are going to go back and finish that discussion eventually. But again, I apologize for our lateness. We'll need a motion to come out of closed meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I move the Caroline County Board of Supervisors, come out of closed session.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Seeley, seconded by Mrs. Long. Discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The motion carries unanimously.
I move that the Caroline County Board of Supervisors certifies to the best of each board member's knowledge only public business matters lawfully exempt from the open meeting requirement by Virginia law were discussed in closed meeting to which this certification applies, and only such public business matters were identified in the motion convened in the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered by the board. Second.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion made again by Mr. Seeley, seconded by Mr. Black and Mrs. Long. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion carries unanimously. Mr. Forehand, do you certify that only those things we discussed were discussed in closed meeting? Mr. I'm sorry, I was thinking Mr. Underwood and
Maybe some.
We do look alike.
yeah, you're almost like twins. So, Mr.
I so certify.
I was going to say.
I could hear you in the hallway. I just couldn't get in.
I was going to say Mr. Underwood just for the joke, but it wouldn't work. Mr. Forehand, you so certify.
I so certify.
Mr. Black, do you certify?
I so certify.
Mr. Seeley?
I so certify.
Mrs. Long?
I so certify.
Mr. Underwood?
I so certify.
And I so certify. We are out of closed meeting and have completed the certification. We will now move to our public comment section of the agenda. Public comments is a portion of the agenda that the board allows citizens to come and speak on any matter that's not a public hearing. So at this time, we will open the public comment section of the agenda. If you would like to speak and address the board, now is the time to do so.
Good evening, everybody. Sorry to interrupt your intense meeting y'all was having. My name is Travis Richardson. I'm the director of Team Loaded Girls Basketball. I'm also an assistant coach with Caroline High School Girls Basketball Program. I have two of my players here. I'm gonna let them introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Kayla Beanie.
Hi, my name's Janiyah Pickett.
We are Team Loaded's AAU girls basketball program, and we play in front of hundreds of college recruiters. We have been invited to Indianapolis, Indiana, and Omaha, Nebraska for a national tournament. And these two young ladies right here, one plays on the 15U, Kayla Vinny, and the other plays on the 17U, Janiyah Pickett. And we're just looking for some assistance, just helping these young ladies play in front of college recruiters. So any assistance, any amount of money will help. As we are raising money just to travel, we have to fly to Indianapolis and Nebraska, and back to Richmond. And it just gives these young ladies opportunity to play in front of hundreds of college recruiters and travel and just see the world, and just looking for some help if possible.
Thank you, Coach Richardson. Ladies, anything you would like to say, especially just besides your name?
Hi, I'm Janiyah. I play for Team Loaded 17U team. I just want to say that Team Loaded has helped me a lot, like college-wise. Gave me a lot of college looks that I haven't had before, so I'm very appreciative for that program.
Hi, I'm Kayla. I'm a part of the 15U. I really enjoy playing with Team Loaded. It's helped me grow as a player a lot.
Thank you, ladies.
Mr. Thomas.
Yes, sir.
Yes, if there's only two, are all the girls from Carolina just?
You can ask Coach
Richardson. Your
Yes,
team
sir.
composition?
We have girls from all over the state of Virginia.
Okay.
So these
you
young
just have
ladies,
these two from Carolina.
yes, These young ladies I coach, these young ladies I brought on as a part of Team Loaded. Like I said, just to give them a different experience. The world. I will always tell the kids the world is bigger than where you're from.
Right.
And they just need to see something different. And these young ladies, they have the opportunity to play basketball at the next level. And we're just using basketball as a vehicle just to get them there, to get that college scholarship, just to, just take them to the next level. And I just think it's just something that I just try to do in the community and helping the youth. I'm big on girls basketball because the boys get everything.
Right.
So I
So
try to help the girls.
each girl's looking for sponsorships to move each team member.
Yes, we're just looking for sponsorship just for these two young ladies, because they're from Caroline County, and we come to you being that this is the Board of Supervisors of Caroline County, just in support of these two young ladies right here. And we're actually going, like I say, just looking for help with sponsorship with travel.
These are the only two from Caroline?
Yes.
On the whole team, these two are from Caroline?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Did you go to the school board meeting yesterday?
No, actually, my wife is Salita Richardson, Salita Childs. She's a former teacher at Caroline. She's a former girls head basketball coach at Caroline. And now she's back as the assistant coach. She knows a couple of people on the school board, and she reached out to them yesterday. And they actually responded back to us and had us send them our sponsorship donation letter. And actually, Team Loaded is a 501c nonprofit organization and everything. So we sent them our sponsorship donation letter, and they were supposed to get back to us.
Okay. Same thing.
Excuse me?
Can we get this?
We could do the same thing to see what that looks like. What's the total number you're looking for?
Actually, any amount helps. I know our plane tickets to Nebraska is $540 per player, and then we do hotels. I have to go look at the paper just to give you an actual amount as far as the hotels and everything. But I do know the plane tickets is $540 per player. And like I say, I also.
What do you say?
I also have a sponsorship donation letter that I can send to y'all that y'all can take a look at and everything. And if you want to, donate, like it would really help the young ladies with their travel and everything.
Okay, we did this before, didn't we, Coach?
Yes, we did.
Was that last year or the year before that?
Year before that. It was coming out of the COVID year.
Okay.
Yes.
21.
21, yes.
Okay. Do you remember what we gave you then?
$1,000.
You want a motion?
Yeah, I would go ahead. Yeah,
Mr. Chairman, in light of what we did in the past, and that may not be appropriate time, but I'd make a motion that we award each player $1,000 to help with travel and expenses for the AAU program, the Lotus AAU program.
Each player?
Yeah.
For a total of 2,000?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Ms. Long seconds. It discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries unanimously. There were no nay votes, so we'll give you $1,000 each, Coach, for a total of 2,000.
I greatly appreciate it.
Good luck, girls.
Do I need to talk with somebody to give them
You
the
will-
information so I can give the email
Sponsorship letter
address?
probably to.
Yeah, make sure you get the finance director is the young lady in the light blue suit.
Okay.
That's Miss Smith.
Okay.
She will take whatever you have and she'll be responsible for making sure you get the funds. When is the trip?
We go to Indianapolis, Indiana, July 5th through the 7th, and we'll leave Indianapolis, Indiana on July 8th and fly to Omaha, Nebraska from the 8th to the 11th.
All right, we'll make sure you get the money before July 5th or whatever.
I greatly appreciate it. Thank you,
sir.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, which one's the point guard? All right. I'd like to see you dribble later on. Thank you, ladies. Is there anyone else who would like to speak as part of the public comment section? Oh, anyone else who'd like to speak as part of public comment?
Good evening, Chairman Thomas and members of the board. I was here, so I just thought I would make a comment. I'm sorry. Mary Hodge, Bowling Green District.
Thank you.
Not a comment, but a suggestion. And I don't know how to start something like this, but I really wish we had, I really miss the Caroline Progress, and I really wish we had a news source for our county that information could be disseminated, that's not Facebook. The Freelance Star doesn't have a reporter for our county any longer. And there's no way of knowing I know the county on the webpage, there's, items of interest, but we have elections coming up. There's a lot of topics going on, even as tonight, and people don't know what's going on. And sometimes it's good, you don't want everyone to know your business, but citizens need to know what's going on in our community. And I don't know how we could ever start a paper, but that's my suggestion. Thank you very much. Thanks for all you do.
Thank you, Ms. Hodge. That does mean a lot. And we do have the county alert system, which sends an alert to people's cell phones. I don't know if we want to make it more of a news source as opposed to an emergency thing, because if we put too much news out there, people may not pay attention to emergencies. But we will try to do whatever we can to make sure folks know what's going on.
Okay.
Because this is government of the people, so we need to make sure the people know what's going on.
I know. When I used to miss what's going on in Gether and Port Royal, and it's a big county.
Okay. Thank you.
We miss the newspaper too.
I know.
All right. Is there anyone else who would like to speak as part of public comment? Anyone else? All right. Hearing none, we'll declare public comment closed. And we will move to public hearings. Is Mr. Fincham still working? Yeah, he looks like he's still working. Okay. Not on this one? All right. The first one we have as our public hearing is a proposed lease of county-owned property. Is that Mr. Parton?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, as the board is aware, we're in the process of purchasing the house located adjacent to the county administration building. And as part of the sales agreement, as you know, there's a floral shop operated out of there. We negotiated allowing the current owners to remain in the building for up to a year, to have time to get out the property from the floral shop and so forth. And so we've entered into that lease as part of the purchase agreement, and that triggers a Code of Virginia requirement that you have a public hearing to make that known to the public and allow anyone from the public to comment on that lease. And so that is the sole purpose of this public hearing, is to comply with state code.
Questions for Mr. Parton at this time? Hearing none, thank you, Mr. Parton. We will declare the public hearing to be open for the proposed lease of county-owned property. The public hearing is open. Anyone who would like to speak regarding this matter? Is there anyone who would like to speak regarding this matter?
Good evening, Mr. Thomas, Chair, and other board members. My name's Bonnie Cannon. I live in the Bowling Green District on South Main Street. And make sure I'm addressing this correctly, I'm speaking in regard to the lease of the county-owned property at 218 North Main Street.
Yes, ma'am.
I read the public hearing information that came out in the Freelance Star the last week. I completely understand the first part of the ad, which says the lease situation with the property. I'm fine with that. That's great. I think it's wonderful income for the county if you want to lease a property. I would like to see it remain that way. I think that's a great idea, regardless of who it is, Bill, George, John, or Sue. But I did not understand the second part of that thing. I thought I read on that something about destruction or something. The word started with a D. I didn't understand the rest of the ad. Anyway, that being said, I'm concerned of the future of the building. That's one of few historic buildings left in the town of Bowling Green. I think if I'm incorrect,